This is Hindering Your Grief Process. Hi, I'm Ashley, follower of Jesus, therapist, and grief educator. Today, we're talking about one of the biggest roadblocks people encounter when experiencing grief: comparison. Have you ever caught yourself saying, "It could have been worse"? So I actually recently did a poll on Instagram about this very topic, and a very common response I got was, "I have so much to be grateful for, so I can't feel sad about this." I was talking to a friend a while back. They were processing a recent traumatic loss in their life. And as they were talking, they shared that they recently heard of a family whose child had been diagnosed with cancer. Absolutely awful, traumatic, something to be grieved. They then said, "I really can't continue feeling sad like this. Other people have it so much worse, and I still have so much to be grateful for." Did this person have things to be grateful for? Absolutely. Did that mean that their sadness and grief over their own loss wasn't allowed to be felt anymore? No. Gratitude and grief can coexist, and often when we allow them to, they do. So gratitude can be a very powerful tool when experiencing hard seasons, but we can't use gratitude to spiritually bypass. So why do we compare, and why doesn't it work? So many people in grief don't feel permission to feel sad. They even feel guilty for feeling sad because someone else had it worse, or we've even experienced worse. And listen, I get it. So I recently lost my papa, and I loved him dearly. But if I compared that grief to losing my mom, it obviously felt different. He was 88 or 87. She was 41. He had been sick for a long time, and she died suddenly. So yes, some losses do feel heavier. But here's the point. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that someone else seems to have lost more than you. Because knowing that someone has it worse is not a healing balm, and it certainly doesn't speed your grief along. Those feelings don't disappear, and they'll find another way out. Your feelings are real and valid. Think of unresolved feelings like an overstuffed junk drawer. It's that drawer in your kitchen that's been filling up. You can slam it shut for a while, but eventually things start spilling out. And usually at the most inconvenient times. So the next time guilt creeps in, are you really upset about that? Other people have it worse. Stop right there. Because again, this is what I want you to hear. That's not the point. I'm not here to tell you that some grief doesn't sting more than others. You know who models this well for us, not falling into the trap of grief comparison? Jesus. So I have my Bible here on John 11. And I'm going to read about an encounter Jesus had with grief. So let's see, I'm going to start in verse 30. So a little context, Jesus is going to see Mary and Martha because their brother Lazarus has died. So Jesus stayed outside the village at the place where Martha met him. When the people who were at the house consoling Mary saw her leave so hastily, they assumed she was going to Lazarus' grave to weep. So they followed her there. When Mary arrived and saw Jesus, she fell at his feet and said, "Lord, if only you had been here, my brother would not have died." I do love the audacity of Mary. When Jesus saw her weeping and saw the other people wailing with her, he said, "Stop it. Other people have it worse." No, just kidding. He didn't say that. When Jesus saw her weeping and saw other people wailing with her, a deep anger welled up within him, and he was deeply troubled. "Where have you put him?" he asked them. They told him, "Lord, come and see." Verse 35, then Jesus wept. When Lazarus died, Jesus didn't minimize it. He didn't say, "Hey, have you guys heard of the story of Job? You know, the guy who lost all his kids?" Jesus validates grief. And listen, not comparing grief is hard. I still unintentionally do it. And unfortunately, many of you watching likely have at least one well-meaning person in your life who further perpetuates this unhealthy tendency. But while you might hear it from other humans, I hope you can begin to see that the voice of comparison is not God. I want to hear from you. Have you ever struggled with grief comparison? As you're comfortable, I'd love to hear about your experience in the comments. Hit like and subscribe so you can be notified when more videos post and more people can find encouragement here.